Okay, let's do a question 176 to 180. 176, let's begin. Pretty much exactly the same thing as the early ones we've been doing. So this is good practice for you in terms of making sure you're happy with what's going on here. We have the budgeted profit. This time it's profit we're looking at. Again, like I said, we have, okay, great. So there's just usage. There's no mix here. So the question here is, how does this affect profit? Well, in terms of a favorable price variance in terms of buying material for cheaper, which is why it's favorable, we have to add in, right, that favorability, and the usage would have made things worse. And so a favorable labor rate variance would improve our profits, and all the rest would make profits worse, arriving at our actual profit. And when you add all this together and subtract, add 10,000 plus minus, you will get to a comfortable 9,350. Good. So here we're back into our land of variances again. So this question is asking a pretty fair, I think, question. It's saying that what is the standard cost of the raw materials, if you like, per kilogram? And let's look at this picture here. You have spent 23,996. It says that the material price variance is 800 adverse. So this is what you actually did. So we were expecting you to actually spend 23,196. That's what we were actually expecting you to spend. So we were expecting you to spend, if you like, 23,196. That's what we were expecting you to spend. And you bought in 1933 kilograms. So therefore per kilogram we were expecting to spend 23,196 on those 193 kilograms. Remember that when we're talking about pricing, we're basing it on what you actually went out there to buy. So you should have spent, if you like, this divided by this gives you a comfortable 12. You should have spent 12 pounds per kilogram. I mean, you spent 23,996 divided by 1993, which is a bit more, 12 pounds something. But again, that's how you look at this. I mean, review the notes. That would help, definitely, and you can start seeing how the formulas work. But key point is that the more you can see why you're doing it, it's better. Yes, and that's it. I mean, that's what variances are, really, ultimately, right? The difference between what you should have and what you did spend. Okay, and great. So the answer there is B. Right, and then let's quickly move on to 178. Kind of a similar, it's pretty much the same question, but this time just kind of working it backwards. So, pretending you didn't know 177 existed. So again, looking at it from this point of view here, again, you should have spent, well, you spent 23,996. You should have spent, I'm going to take away 800 there. You should have spent 23,196. And we're told, therefore, that if that's what you should have spent, and the assumption is that you're spending £12 a kilogram, well, I would do 23,196 divided by 12 to give me my 1933. So they're just kind of flipping the story on its head a little, because now I can think about standards from two different angles. So my answer here becomes C. The same principle actually applying here. You spent 80 grand. Again, and it says that you have an adverse variance, so you should have spent 60 grand on those labor hours. That's what you should have spent, and our standard rate is at £10 an hour, so therefore it must be 60,000 divided by 10 to give 6,000 labor hours, right? It must be the case that you went out there, you bought 6,000 hours, we believed that you should pay £10 for them, which would have brought us to 60,000. You spent 80,000, which is why we have a variance of 20,000, right? So this is it's always on the actual number of hours worked. You apply that standard cost to that. So the answer here is 6,000 hours. And question 180, slightly similar again. This is what you actually did. You should have done 24,000 minus 800. So you should have done 23,200, right? And that's what, so, I mean, we're expecting you to go out there 16, buy a certain number of actual hours and come back with 23,200. So that means the actual number of hours that you did was 33,200 divided by 16, which takes us, if you like, to 1,450 hours. So what am I saying? You just what you need to do is you start learning how to use the actual variances to work backwards, and that's what this is sort of forcing you to sort of work with and play with. Again, like I say, go back to the notes. You might see some. Just to kind of finish off this section with these formulas, right? Because we're in exam mode now. There's a little SPSQ. So if we're looking at price variances and we're looking at efficiency variances, so in terms of inputs, this is the actual quantity of inputs that we put in, and this is the actual price and the standard price. So ultimately, with price variances, right, we're looking at the difference between actual price and standard price times the actual quantity, right? Because we're interested in the actual quantity. We're just looking at the variation in price. It's the actual quantity. And with efficiency, we're looking at the difference in quantity. So we're looking here ultimately at standard price, actual quantity minus standard quantity. That's the focus, right? So that helps as well in your manipulation of these figures. You can use that as well. But this is the way I'd rather you thought about it, knowing exactly what it is you're doing and walking and talking through it. Okay, great stuff. I'll see you in the next set of videos.